But as for me, my prayer is unto thee, O Lord, in an acceptable time. O God, in the multitude of thy mercy, hear me in the truth of thy salvation. Psalm 69, verse 13. 3 words carry everything. But as for me, David has just described elders speaking against him in the gate and drunkards singing his name in mockery. His reputation lies in ruins at both ends of the social order. The city's most powerful voices and its lowest have both turned against him. And David's response is not to defend himself, nor to scheme. He prays. This is not resignation. David does not drift toward prayer because every other choice has failed. He turns to prayer as his only option. The contrast is sharp and deliberate. His enemies speak against him in the gate. David speaks to God. His enemies sing crude songs. David lifts prayers to the Lord. David prays in an acceptable time, a phrase rooted in God's own timing rather than David's urgency. This phrase points to a moment of divine favor, a window when God acts according to his own sovereign schedule. David does not demand that God work on his timetable. He brings his petition and places it within God's calendar, trusting that God knows when to move. David then grounds his entire petition in 2 things: the multitude of God's mercy and the truth of God's salvation. He does not appeal to his own righteousness. David does not remind God of his years of faithful service. He comes with nothing but God's own character as his argument. The multitude of God's mercy means David is not asking for a small portion of something just available. He draws from an overflowing supply that cannot be exhausted by his needs. The truth of God's salvation means that when God delivers, he does so with faithfulness, not experimentation. Deliver me out of the mire, and let me not sink. Let me be delivered from them that hate me, and out of the deep waters. Psalm 69, verse 14. David returns to the drowning imagery from the Psalm's opening. He describes himself standing in mire, the thick mud that pulls a man down with every step. He asks God to pull him out before he sinks. The request is specific and physical. David is not asking for emotional comfort. He is asking for extraction from a situation that is swallowing him. The second part of the verse pairs the mire with enemies and deep waters, linking the physical danger with the human opposition surrounding him. The deep waters represent forces beyond David's ability to resist. He cannot swim out. He cannot negotiate his way to solid ground. His only available movement is downward, unless God intervenes. David does not ask God to make the mire more manageable. He asks to be delivered out of it. The prayer carries no interest in partial relief. Let not the waterflood overflow me, neither let the deep swallow me up, and let not the pit shut her mouth upon me. Psalm 69, verse 15. David stacks 3 images of engulfment in a single verse. The waterflood overflowing, the deep swallowing, and the pit closing its mouth over him. The pit shutting its mouth is a vivid image. The pit here carries the sense of Sheol, the place of the dead. David is not describing a hole in the ground. David describes the grave itself, opening to receive him and then closing. He prays against finality. He prays against the door being shut with him on the wrong side of it.